Hi folks, so this question here is a question based on the topic of perspective, and what we're given is, it tells here, we're given the projections of a solid, both the plan up here and the elevation which is used for the heights down here. Construct a perspective view of the solid given the following information. The picture plane passes through the corner A, which is identified here, and we can see it in the elevation view here, and the horizon line is 70 millimeters above the ground line. Now, often in a DCG you will be given maybe an example of what the object looks like. Here we're not, so what I'm going to do is just a little, I suppose, I'm going to use the elevation and plan to kind of come up with what I think the object is going to look like. So if I look at the elevation, I clearly have a one whole face here that is that kind of shape. So what I'm going to do is just a little sketch to kind of help me, I suppose, visualize what the object might end up looking like. So just a little isometric sketch as best I can. So that there looks like a face to me. Okay, then it goes along at the front a certain distance. Okay, it comes here at the front just for a little step, but halfway. So just go up something like that. And then it goes at the back, there's an edge here at the back that's going across there, and then that. At a certain point there, you might, now depending on my sketch, there might be a platform that goes up, maybe something like that. Because there's kind of two little levels there. Okay, so maybe not the best orientation of what we did, but it kind of gives an idea, and that's kind of the structure of the object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my perspective drawing. So step one is, what we always have to do is create what's known as our cone of vision. So from the spectator, I'm going to join up the extreme left and the extreme right. That creates what's known as the cone of vision. That's what the spectator sees of the object. And in the middle of the cone of vision, we get what's known as the line of sight. So to get the line of sight, we always bisect the angle between the cone of vision. And to get the line of sight then, that is a line that is in the middle of the cone of vision. Now, that there is my line of sight. I'm just going to use a little yellow highlighter to use that as a key little guide. That line is critical. Okay, that is my line of sight. L-O-S. Okay, now the picture plane touches corner A. What we know about the picture plane is that it is always perpendicular to the line of sight. So now that we have the line of sight, I can set up my picture plane perpendicular to the line of sight, and it goes through corner A. So I'll do a line like that, and that there is now my picture plane. Usually a heavy line, like that. Make sure it stands out a little bit more. And there we go. That there is my picture plane. Sometimes people write PP on it. Okay, now that we have our picture plane, the last thing I'll do before I rotate my sheet is I'm going to set up for my vanishing points. The vanishing points are going to be going in line with the direction or parallel with the direction of the faces. In this case, I have faces that are running horizontal and vertical. So from the spectator, I'm going to go parallel, so that means I'm going to do a line horizontal and vertical until it hits the picture plane. And there we go. And it's gone up and it's hit the picture plane. Now, if this question was a long question, what you would do at this stage, most teachers teach it this way, is you would rotate your sheet. So I'm going to take off my masking tape. If it was a short question and it comes up in a section A of a leaving cert paper, you'll end up using sliding set squares. But for the purpose of the video, I am going to rotate the sheet. So I always rotate my sheet so my T-square is going to be parallel with the picture plane. So a little bit of... And the only reason we do this is to save us having to do a load of sliding set squares. So now that I've got it parallel, I'm going to retape down the sheet. Okay. And there we go. And there is my setup. Now every so often I'll refer back up to this guy, a little bit out of the way there now. But here's my object, okay? So there's the object. We've got the plan view, we've got our setup done. Now, the next thing I have to set up is my ground line. And if you remember down here from the question, it says here the pitch plane passed through the corner A. We've done that. The horizon line is 70 millimeters above the ground line. So I usually always like to keep my ground line at a nice distance below the spectator, and it's so much as a distance that the horizon line isn't going to go above it. That can confuse students at times, so we'll go down about that distance there. Ground line can technically be set up anywhere. I'm going to write that on it. Ground line, often with a GL, and then 17 millimeters above the ground line is the horizon line. So from the ground line, if we measure up 70 millimeters, and there is my horizon line. So once again, and the horizon line, HL, is the guy that contains the vanishing points. And if you remember, I went parallel to the direction of the faces where they hit the pitch plane. I'll drop those down. The one on the left will be called VP1, and the one on the right will be called VP2. That's our setup. You get marks for doing that in the day of a test. Okay, VP1 and VP2. VP1 on the left, 2 on the right. Reading from left to right. Okay, in regards to the object, what I'm going to do is from corner A, everything is going to project down parallel with the line of sight once it hits the picture plane. Corner A is touching the picture plane, so I can treat that as what's known as a true height because it's touching the picture plane. Now, if I just come back up to the actual object here, I'm trying to bring it into the screen. Here's the object, it's a little bit at an angle, but corner A is right there. And I know that corner A is touching the picture plane. So I can treat that edge right there, that little edge there, as a true height. And I can take that height there from the elevation which I've got here. Now, what's helpful about that surface is, I'm just going to get a highlighter, that whole surface there, if I highlight it, that irregular shaped surface, okay, that face there, all is on corner A. Now, if I was to imagine that was on a plane, technically I can get 3 heights on that plane. The first height where corner A is touching, the second height, the back step here at the back, if I brought that forward, I could mark that up on corner A, and the third height, which is the top one, I could also mark that one. So what's helpful here is because corner A is part of that whole face, that edge is part of that whole face, I can actually take the 3 heights from here and mark them all from corner A, which I've got on my ground. So corner A is on the ground. It's that point right there. So there's corner A. So what I'm going to do, there's 3 key heights here. Height number 1, height number 2, and height number 3. So those 3 heights. So what I'm going to do, just draw a line down so I can get it accurately. Excuse me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those heights. Height number 1, I'm going to take it from the elevation. That's the reason we need the elevation for the heights. So I take the height for this one here. I'm going to mark it up. I'm going to take the height for the edge at the back. And once again, because it's part of that plane, that surface that contains edge A, or corner A, and then I'm going to take height number 3, which is the overall height of the object. You can see I marked them all. Now, what's important to note here is that, I'm going to zoom in here now, what's important to note is that all those heights that I've done are going on a face that is running in this direction, because that's the lowest edge. The highest edge is this one, and then the one in the middle height is this kind of surface back here. So, because that face is going in this direction, it's parallel with this line, that means all those heights are going to vanish over to VP2. So, from A, I'm going to vanish those. A is on the ground, the height of the first edge or step is there, the middle height is this one, and the tallest height is that one. So that's the height of the object. Now what I want to do is I want to find the actual face of that object, and I want to start building essentially, if I look here, I essentially want to start building this. I want to start making that face. So how do I start making that face? Well, what I need is the spectator's view of all those edges. So This is one edge, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So I need the spectator's view of it. So edge A has already been brought down because it's where it hits the pitch plane. I need the spectator's view of this edge. So what do? Where the edge is, I bring it down to the spectator, line it up, and I'll bring it to the spectator, but I often stop it at the pitch plane. Now you can draw it the whole way in, but I often stop it at the pitch plane just for neatness. Here's where the second edge, bring it to the spectator, stop it at the pitch plane, and the third edge, the final one at the back, has already been brought, and that's where it hits there. Where each one of these hits the picture plane, I'm going to bring them down. So this is edge number 1. This one is edge number 2. And finally, the back edge. And there we go. Now we're going to heavy in the object. You have to use a little bit of your own visualization skills to help you here. So I'm just heavying in all my vertical lines. So there's all my vertical lines. Okay, and there I have the first face. Now what I want to do is, I want to get the faces running in the opposite direction. Think of this face here. So how do I get that face? Well, that face is going in this direction, which is parallel with this line, this vanishing line, so I have to go to VP1. So, from A, and for the first face, that's going to go over there as far as VP1. It also makes sense that this edge here would also go to VP1. So we'll just start with that much for now. Now where does that face end? I want to kind of get, I'll just come back here, and you can barely see it in the screen there, but I'm trying to build up that face there. Okay? So where does that face end? I want the spectator's view of where the face ends. It ends here, and the spectator's view of it is when it hits the picture plane. So where it hits the picture plane, let's bring it down. And there we go, and because I know it's only the height of the first step, I will now heavy that in. So there's that one, and that one. Now, the next surface that I want to do is kind of this little face here. I want to start building maybe that face of the object, okay, which is coming from the top point here. So once again, that's the face. Let's recognize where it is in the plan. So then, because the face is going in that direction, parallel with this guy, it's going to vanish over to VP1. Okay, and I want to find where that face ends. It ends right here. So what do? I bring it to the spectator, stop it at the pitch plane. It's very close to corner A. Just off it by about maybe 0.5 mm or 1 mm and bring it down. And now I can heavy in that face. Almost went too far there. And there we go. Now I have done that edge. And what's helpful here now is I can vanish this guy. Because I have the edge running back there, that little edge that will be running back, you can kind of barely see it on the screen, that little edge that's running back, that's an edge going in this direction, which is parallel with this line. That means I can connect that to VP2. Now I don't know how much I can heavy in just yet. I don't think I can see it, but I'll just leave it for the moment. Now if I want to get the top face in here, well, this guy here makes sense. To make that top face, that's that line there, that little block, that's going to vanish over to VP1 because it's a line going in this direction. And then this one is going in this direction, which is going to go over to VP2 from this point. And then we can build up that top surface. Now, this back surface here, there's an edge on the second level. That's going to go over to VP1. Don't have to show hidden detail, so I'll just heavy that in there. So we've kind of got that guy. And now the question is, can I see this second level back here? So if I look at the spectator, and I'll try and find that point, you can see there it's kind of going through that, so I actually can't see that edge back there. Therefore, because I can't see it, I can simply heavy in that the whole way. And there we have it, guys. So nice little task there, but just to explain why I could see, I suppose why I can definitely see that line going back the whole way. It's not that I can see the second level, this little level over here. It's because that's the point that I want to be able to see. I want to see where that second level, which is this surface here, I want to see where that ends. It ends right here at the back, and if I get the spectator's view of that point, well, the spectator's view of that point is right here. Therefore, this kind of edge on the actual block that's in the middle of it is just in front of it. So therefore, because it's just in front of it, I can't see it. So there you have it, folks. That there is a little perspective problem completed. Hope you found that helpful. That's the video done.